everybody.
Hey!
How's it going? This is Angel's Calamity. This is the Otakucast. There's a dude over there. Don't worry about him because I'm your host. And I have a small YouTube channel where I do Let's Plays and whatnot. I just finished up Little Nightmares 2, posted the video today. If you guys have theories on what the heck happened there, tell me. I also have something else planned for the future, so keep a watch on my channel. My co-host.
Hi, I'm Directionally Challenged. You can find me at YouTube/Directionally Challenged. I'll do Let's Plays and stuff. I'm playing Dragon Quest still. Till it's done.
How's that Mega Barn coming along?
Mega Barn takes so much wood. It takes so much wood. God.
Like our forest castle.
So much resource.
So much chop shop.
So much.
So much chop shop. And we cannot forget about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
That is I.
He's the dude. And
The
we're
guy who does stuff.
We're nerds who like to talk about nerd stuff. So, yeah, here we are. And the first thing we like to talk about on nerd stuff. What? What, you got something better?
Terrible. Terrible intro.
Let's hear you do it better.
And welcome to the Otakucast, where we're gonna get into some Otaku news.
What if they're nervous? Let's yell at the people.
We've been doing this for 3 seasons.
4.
Oh yeah, true.
Season 0. So,
let us know in the comments or the chat, which intro do you think is better? Calm, serene, chill, friendly, or screaming at them?
Yeah, no, we do nerd stuff. So
okay, we do detailed interviews. We do
we?
detailed reviews of anime and
that's
nerd stuff.
It's a weird intro to have at the end of season 3.
That's okay.
We don't do it for 4 seasons. You know, we're just like at the very end, and then it's just like we do nerd stuff.
Editor, whenever you're editing this, make sure there's like fire coming up from the depths of hell to roast the crap out of me, because that just happens more often than. Anyway, the first thing we're going to talk about today is some news.
Yes.
Give us some news. Or, you know what? Chase, give us news first.
Oh, what? Why me?
I don't know. Fine, whatever. I'll do a news first.
Yeah, thanks.
I will.
Nice.
My Hero Academia's finally got their Season 5 dub, premiering on April 10th, which was, in my time zone, yesterday. I prefer the dub. I've been watching My Hero Academia in dub the whole time. I know a lot of people do. And my kids watch it with me, and they really love it, so we're very excited to start it. So, they announced on Thursday that they'll begin streaming the English dub for the 5th season of the My Hero Academia anime on Saturday. It premiered in Japan on March 27th, and Funimation and Crunchyroll are both streaming it. Are you not? You about the dub or about My Hero?
It only just started to get good manga-wise.
Okay. The anime's first 13-episode season premiered in April 2016, and the 25-episode second season premiered in April 2017, and the third season premiered on April 2018 and ran for 25 episodes. And it's a very popular anime. It's superheroes. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Dub or sub, whatever tickles your fancy. And then it's also had 2 movies, and there's a third one in the works.
Yes, there's a third one.
With their stealth suits. We've talked about that one. That was weird. Bakugo in a stealth suit.
No, the 3 people that are the least stealthy people in the world being given stealth suits. Yeah. Hey, here's a dude who's super powerful. He's got super strength. Give him a stealth suit. This guy makes fire and ice. Stealth suit. That guy's explosions. Stealth suit.
Why not?
Makes no sense. No sense.
Why not? Oh, whatever, man, whatever. What's your next news story?
Hi, I'm a big fan of JRPGs. I'm also a fan of The World Ends With You. And did you know that this summer, Neo, The World Ends With You, is coming to, I believe, not just the Switch, which is they said it would be on, but they're also coming to the PC and the PS4. Not the PS5, the PS4. But yeah, it's coming out this summer. It is a sequel to The World Ends With You, which is a cult classic. It is. It has a massive following. It came out about 14 years ago. And Game Informer tells us that we first learned about the new title last November, but Square Enix has finally pulled the curtain back on the game's release date, showcasing a new trailer that reveals the game is heading to the PC via the Epic Games Store, as well as PlayStation 4 and Switch. The official release date is July 27th for the PS4 and Switch, while the PC version, sometime in summer. That's when. So, the Neo, The World Ends With You takes place after the events of the 2007 original and follows the protagonist Rindo, a teen who finds himself trapped in the same Reapers game that plagued Neku and his pals. For those unfamiliar, the Reapers game is a deadly game of survival set in the Shibuya district of Tokyo. The new trailer introduced the main cast of new characters and returning faces, as well as tantalizing tease at the end. The game's signature art remains intact, but the combat has evolved beyond the original 2D battles into a 3D style reminiscent of Kingdom Hearts. It says, don't worry though, you'll still be collecting tons of pins to augment Rindo and his crew with various special abilities to take on the noise. It is going to be awesome. If you're a newcomer looking to catch up on the series, you can check out Game Informer's review on it. They did a Switch port, and they did all sorts of other fun little things with it. I think they even had like a little mobile game for a little bit. But yeah.
The Switch port has got a final remix, so it's probably got some extra content jam-packed into there, huh?
It is a music-based game, too, so you're going to want to put them headphones on.
Oh, and then they also made an anime, yeah?
Yes, they did. We'll be talking about that shortly.
Ooh, spicy. Spicy. And I
What
suppose
else we got?
I can, move on a little bit when I get the right tab open. Thank you. You guys heard of Demon Slayer? Demon Slayer? Anybody? Yeah,
Yes.
Demon Slayer's amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone in the anime community.
I hope everyone has, because it's worth it. I'm a little late to the party, but I just finished the Demon Slayer Season 1 last week, and I love it. And, they created...
You finished Demon Michael Jackson?
Yes, I finished Demon Michael Jackson. They created a large-scale figure of the hero Nezuko figurine, I can speak words, which comes with a box resembling what Tanjiro uses to carry her around through all the series. The box is capable of opening and closing, allowing the owner to safely tuck Nezuko inside. Honestly, she's adorable, but if you bought this, it should not be leaving the package for anything, because this figure is 44 centimeters tall and will go on sale in Japan
17 inches.
Yes, in Japan next year, costing a lot of money. 3,399. That's a lot of yen.
399,300
Yes,
yen, or about $3,635.
Well, I ain't gonna own that then.
Oh, you did a swore.
I did.
Can't do the swore.
Yeah, well, Australians. Ah!
They're just sentence
Look.
enhancers for Australians.
Look, we want to do the swore too, alright? We have to control ourselves.
It's
I have no control.
fine. And it will be sold by the Furyu Corporation. It'll be available for order via the F-Next online shop from April 7th to July 15th. So it's not even going to go on sale until January, but you got to order it from April 7th to July 15th. If you got $4,000 burning a hole in your pocket and you really, really like Nezuko,
I wish I had like $4,000 I could just, yeah, sure.
just buy a figurine with. But look,
Yeah.
if you got the money, it would be an awesome thing to have. I
Yeah.
would buy it if I was that
Sure.
kind, if I had that kind of money.
If
I
I
just-
was rich.
Just to be like, look at this package that will never be opened. Isn't it glorious?
If
Or
I
like-
had.
A lot of them, like this one I know, just kind of came in like a loose plastic bag, and I had to assemble it myself. Actually, it's like a gift, and it still came like that. And then we had one more news story for today.
What? Oh, the Stone Ocean has been announced for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which everyone's been waiting for quite a long time, and they... Oh, well, not a long time, but, you know, perfect voice actor, if you don't know already. I can't pronounce her name, but she is voicing Jolene, and she's been waiting for the role for quite a while. She became a voice actor because she wanted to voice Jolene Cujo.
That is an interesting strive.
Yeah,
People really like JoJo's.
yeah.
There's a lot of people that really like JoJo's.
I don't know why, but yeah.
Hey, I like JoJo's. Not as
As-
much as like the mega fans, but I like JoJo's.
Oh god, no, I'm nowhere near. Like I liked it before it got incredibly,
before it got cool?
weird.
You liked it before it got
No, literally just before it got super weird. I thought it was better.
The weird is the best part. I did not just spill soda on my notebook, and the ink is not running everywhere.
Yeah, it was just an odd turn. It took a very sharp left turn,
You take a left at Albuquerque and just
and then
ride.
it just keeps devolving.
Look, JoJo's is great for the memes and the poses, and
Yeah,
even if you're not,
it's not really story though.
there
Yes.
there is story. What arc are we in, Chase? Which one? The Crusade Diamond something? What are we?
Diamond
in,
is
Chase?
unbreakable.
Diamond is unbreakable. Yeah, there's a story there. They're doing the things and the stuff and the story.
Very, very good job explaining that story.
I don't want to spoil it. Do you want me to spoil it?
We should explain some other stories instead.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Because our topic this time is spring 2021 anime, and we usually each watch 3, but our boy DC went above and beyond this time.
I watched 10, I think.
Hey, Missy,
think
how are you today? Glad to see ya.
I watched 10 of the currently airing spring anime.
Yeah, and I watched my 3 because I didn't know we were doing extra credit. Kiss up.
Hey, I just wanted to check out some of the other lineup.
You already did.
Some of the ones I thought might be decent.
All right, then
Yeah.
since you watched so many, pick the first one to talk about. I just realized that Chase put on himself in this.
It took you a while.
Are you okay?
So,
Caught me off guard. I'm sorry. Carry on.
You good?
Carry on. Yep.
You
yep.
good? All right. So, I watched quadruple S Dynazenon.
Bless you.
It was titled "What's a Kaiju User?"
Okay.
Which is a very good question.
What? Yeah, I was just gonna say,
for-
what is a kaiju user?
Well, you don't really get to find out about that till towards the end of the episode. A lot of the episode kind of starts off with like some kids arguing. You find out about the main character. He's working at a convenience store because, like, it just kind of because.
Why not? I mean, a man's gotta eat.
Yeah, but there's like, it goes through and introduces some of the characters that you're gonna meet. You meet the main character who works a job. You meet this girl named
My corns were
Yumi.
tickled.
She's named Yumi, and apparently she has a reputation around school of asking guys out and then never showing up.
Okay.
You
Kind of
meet,
sounds like a bad reputation.
yes, it is. You meet these two NEETs that they don't really say their names, but apparently they're cousins, and they just kind of. She just kind of like refers to her older cousin as senpai. But
Okay.
pretty much they're just NEETs. They don't go anywhere. He stays in his room and he plays on his computer like under his sheet, and she
Okay.
eats candy and watches TV all day.
Okay. Fair enough.
And then we meet Gauma, a kaiju user, which he is starving. And the main character finds him under a bridge, gives him the leftover of his lunch, which is
That's nice
a
of
hot
him.
dog with an egg on it. Don't know why. It's just a hot dog with an egg on it. I don't know why it's a thing, but it's a thing. And Galbon's like, "Oh, you saved my life. Thank you. I'm Galbon, a kaiju user."
I have to
There it
Google if a
is.
hot dog with an egg on it is really a
There
thing.
it is. the hot dog with an
I
egg
hate
on
it.
it.
I don't like hot dogs anyway, and that just sounds...
There it is.
It sounds awful. I don't like it.
When things start to get like a little slow throughout the episode, it introduces those weird things. Like it introduces Galbon, the kaiju user, and you're just like, what? And then it gets a little slow, and then there's a trash can that starts floating into the air, and you're like, what? Why is there a trash can floating into the air? And then like some more things go on. You have Yumi has a really terrible home life. You've got like all this other stuff going on, and then there's just like a building that starts to float off into the air.
Maybe someone should get that. That seems
Yeah,
like...
no, you would think, right? So, Galmon, or Yumi ends up asking Yomogi to
Sorry, continue.
meet her, to meet her at night. And she doesn't show up, and Galmon shows up, it's raining, and he is very friendly, but very aggressively friendly. He's
Kinda
just like,
weird.
yeah, he's just like, she was supposed to meet you here. What time? And he's like, what time? And he's like, 9. And he's like, what time is it? Grabs his phone, looks at it. He's like, what? She's 40 minutes late. How dare she be late for a meeting with you? Like, just super aggressively friendly. And he goes and he like finds her and calls her out. And he's talking about how there's 3 things that are important for people to keep. The first one is promises. And then, love?
Okay.
And
Did
then
you know
again,
there's fried banana dog? Like bananas dipped in corn dog batter and fried.
Yes.
That's illegal. Carry on. Hot dog really fried.
Yeah, no, so he kind of just gets interrupted, and a giant monster appears.
Of course it does.
So he's like, jumps up, like does this weird thing where he splits his hands like this, he looks through his fingers and he's like, I can't control it, someone else must be controlling it. And it's just like, what? What's going on?
Okay.
Why is this happening? And so he takes this weird thing from his back, and he's like, I'll have to use this instead. And he summons up that giant robot, which then absorbs the 3 of them on the bridge, which is Yumi, Yomogi, and Gaomon, and then it absorbs the NEAT. And so they end up fighting the giant kaiju, and just... Gaomon is just, like, treating this as normal, and everyone else is just confused and trying to figure out what's going on.
I'm confused.
Oh, as you should be, because Galmon's just like, aha! It must require 4 people to control, and he's like, let's go, Dynazenon! And he's fighting, and he's just like, they start getting their butts kicked, and they're like, oh no! He's like, Dynazenon, don't go out yet, show your true power! So he transforms the robot into a dragon, and he's like, this must be Dynazenon's true power, Dynazenon Rex! And then he fire breaths the kaiju and destroys it. And that's the end of the first episode.
Mecha dragons. Great.
Which, I do have to state, I watched episode 2 of this as well, and I'm only going to bring up this part, because it's really funny. In the opening to episode 2, it shows the fight from episode 1, and it's playing the theme song of the anime as the fight's going on, and it cuts to the main character inside the mech, just confused as heck, and every time it cuts to the main character, this theme song gets muted, like it's playing on the outside.
So everyone else is vibing, and he's just like that one meme that the dude's just like...
So confused.
Exactly.
There's also, I think also the greatest part of episode 2 is when the teacher's just like, now everyone, you know there was a kaiju attack yesterday, so some of the roads are dangerous, so be careful on your way home. Just nonchalant.
Like it's completely normal.
Yeah, there was another kaiju fight at the end of episode 2 where a bus driver was coming down the road, doesn't speed up, doesn't slow down, doesn't stop, just maintains normal speed, and just drives under the kaiju.
Oh.
Just, people in that world are jaded, man. Just jaded to this. Yeah, it's great.
Sure. That's a thing.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's a really good series. It's sort of like Power Rangers meets Godzilla.
I mean, sounds a little bit over the top to me, but you watched it. Did you like it, and are you going to keep watching it?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep watching it. I'm good. I have to. It's so good. It's just so funny. I enjoyed everything about it.
Nice, nice. Do you want to know one of the ones I watched? I'm gonna
Oh, which
start off
one?
with the one I enjoyed the least first, because we
I-
pick our own. We didn't get these assigned or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because if we did, I'm sure we would have gotten Slice of Lives. Anyway.
I gave you the chance.
No, I did not want a Slice of Life. No, thank you, sir. It's not my cup of tea. The first one, not the first one. The one I watched that I enjoyed the least was called Sentonin. I cannot read my own handwriting when I'm using weird letters. But the combatants will be dispatched. Yes.
It was okay.
And it was always bring a gun to a sword fight. Was the name of the episode. And okay, it like starts out really promising. It's like this evil mega corporation, and the two boss ladies or there's like cinematic lighting and the dramatic camera angles and the shadows in the background, and they're like, Agent 6, we have assigned you to go to this.
Combat Agent 6.
Combat Agent 6, yes.
There's no other agents.
Okay, look, it's you're. Well, there could be.
Maybe.
Like, not really when you get to the... I don't think so. But anyway, they say... The thing is, like, with world domination nearly in their grasp.
Yeah.
Is it though?
Well, I think that's kind of what he's calling them out on. He's like, is it really?
The supreme leaders of the Kumarasagi group are like, yep, we're going to dispatch you, Combat Unit 6. We're going to have you go spy to a new planet in this universe that has many planets in it that are similar to Earth. So, go there, spy. You find out later that it's pretty much that his job is to build a base and build a teleporter there and find out about resources in the area.
So they can take over the planet.
Yeah, it makes sense. If that was your goal, that's a reasonable thing to want to do. But, he's a perv.
Yes, he is.
He's the biggest perv, and he just ruins it right in the beginning because he starts complaining about everything and perving on the ladies.
It was kind of funny when he was asking, like, what's with the cosplay? How would your parents feel about this?
And then he literally caused one of his big evil boss ladies to, like, have a little freak out because he was talking about, like, her parents and her, yeah.
Parents shall not be contacted!
Let's not tell mom and dad about this. Don't tell mom! Don't tell mom!
I thought it was funny.
And look, it was funny, but I don't know.
You didn't like super pretty girl android?
Look, that was Alice, and he gets assigned Alice too. Like, but she's literally word for like lolly. She's like a little lolly. She's just a little girl.
Yeah, but he's not like with her.
No, he's not.
He just hates her. He wants to beat her up.
He
wants to beat her up. Yeah, and she's just like, oh, if you do that, my core will explode.
Literally, she only can do one thing. She can blow up and translate for him. That's about it.
Yeah, no. She comes with a self-destruct function.
That's it.
Why? Because all evil things should have a self-destruct.
And then they have this little thing where they went on, well, if they dominate the world, then he's gonna get laid off. So maybe he doesn't want to dominate the world, even though he's going to a different world, so wouldn't he be dominating the universe?
I liked the teleporter gag though. That was pretty funny.
Okay, so yeah, pretty much. Then they go to the teleporter. Oh, Alice called him a potato many times, which that made me a chuckle. And they're like, okay, well, here's this thing for equipment. They give him a notepad, a wrist-held like a notepad,
wrist-based teleporter and a notepad. Yeah.
So pretty much, you write a note and it teleports them. That's.
Yep.
Text messages.
Well, I mean, I liked what
emails.
I liked what. Well, it's across space and time, so you gotta. It's a lot harder. Think about how long that signal would take to get there.
But a piece of paper will get there faster.
Yeah, because it's a teleporter. It just teleports it rather than having to send a signal.
But it still would have to send a signal to teleport it.
No,
That's
it's not how
travel.
teleporters work. Teleporters, the usual idea is that they bend space and time, rather than like a signal which has to go and travel at a set speed. That's why teleportation's faster. It's faster than light travel.
You and your pseudoscience. Anyway, so they get to the teleporter, and then
I liked that gag where he's like, what's the success rate on this teleporter?
100%.
It's 100%.
How many times have it been tested? Let me just throw you in there.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. If it's been tested 100 times and it failed once, then it wouldn't be 100% success rate.
Yeah, so pretty much it hasn't been tested.
No.
And he only learns that like after he's shoved in the machine, and he's like, "Don't do it, don't do it." He's terrified. He tries to wuss out, and she's just like,
Well, I mean, would you want to stay? Would you
No.
want to go into a teleporter that's never been tested?
"No, to go to a world you've never been to.
Yeah.
No, with a robot that calls you a potato."
That if it gets so much just bumped wrong, it's gonna explode.
Same, I guess. But anyway, so they go there, and they are like in the air. They're like, what's in my notes? 30,000 meters above the surface. And they're
That's
just
really
free-falling.
high.
It's very high.
It's like 90,000 feet about.
Yeah, very, very high, and they're just free falling. And he's like, "Can you do anything to help us land?" She's like, "No, I can pretty much only self-destruct."
Yeah, I can explode.
But the dude happened to have a parachute that he didn't remember.
Well, it's because he didn't know that the backpack she was carrying was a parachute.
Yeah, true. So they get the parachute, they land. And his goal now is to just get back as soon as possible so he can be angry about the untested teleporter.
I mean, I have full agreement with him on that one.
I'll give it that. And then they're like, "Okay, well, it's going to take us a month to build a base here, so let's..." They're like in a desert, too. They're in the middle of nowhere. So then they start heading toward this city, and she also injects him with nanobots. Why didn't they do that before they left the facility? That seemed like the safer bet before he was exposed to this foreign planet.
I don't know why. Yeah, no, it's just because it's a comedy. It's by the. I think it's also by the same dude who did the Explosion anime.
Okay.
So it's why it has very similar humor.
I don't know that anime, so I'll take your word for it.
We watched the movie.
Oh, that Konosuba one? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I have a love-hate relationship with that movie. If you guys want to see that, it's a Patreon content. But anyway, our review of that movie anyway is. And so she injected him with the nanobots to make him immune to any diseases, so that's handled. Then there's these dog demon monster things that start chasing them, and they're horrific, but also really cool.
He takes him out though. Gets a shotgun.
Does he take them out,
to...
or does Alice because Alice starts berating him because I guess they have a chip in their brain that gets some villain points to spend.
Evil points.
Evil
oh
points
my lord.
To spend
you get evil points for doing evil things.
That is awesome.
Villain. The more naughty things you do, the more villain points, evil points you get to spend. And
I would have so many.
He spent most of them on electric material.
He took out most of the demon dogs.
Well, and then she's like, "Well, you need to get me a shotgun. Buy me a shotgun with your villain points, and I'll handle it." So she does. He do. They do. Boom, boom. Most of them. All of them, actually, at that point. But,
yeah, he took out most of them. She took down the remaining, 3 or 4.
Yeah, then they keep going, and then this lady, the locals show up. She's on a unicorn, because of course she is.
Well,
the lady, Claire and Redo of Healer was also riding a unicorn.
I mean, why not, man?
She's got she's Snow?
She's like the captain. Yeah,
Whatever.
no. Like the captain of the local blah 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 blah.
Yeah, captain of the guard. Takes them back to the castle.
Yeah, because she's impressed that they killed the things. And there's also this whole thing that's like, "Oh, well, we can't understand your language," but Alice translates for him, and then eventually, the chip in his brain will finish translating.
Yeah, she translates it and sends it to the chip.
It's like they bring up this language barrier thing and then immediately resolve the conflict because of it, and it's like, I guess, sure. And then so they go there, and I noticed one thing. See, I thought this was gonna go someplace different when they were coming in the city because I noticed all the guards were very old men. I'm like,
yeah,
is this...
they were all old dudes.
And I'm like, well, you find out why. But at the first thing, I was like, is this like some sort of society where all the young men, like they were not born? Do they need this man for procreation reasons? And I'm like, I mean, if that's where it's going, it's where it's going. But they meet the
Apparently
princess. Her country's at war with demons. That's probably where all the young men are. And then, they have this whole thing, we're at war with demons and we could use a help and so on and so forth. And then after that, they want land as well because
the demons are looking for land because there's a giant demon that is turning everything to sand.
Yeah, desertification. That's why
Yes.
that word that was scrunched into the corner on my notes meant. But the demons want... I don't know why the demons are desertifying everything. I guess
It's
maybe
not the
just
demons. It's
Demon
a demon.
Lord. Oh,
The demon lord
Desert-
needs land because that demon is turning everything into sand.
but
So he needs different land.
Oh,
It's
Well,
not the
then
demon lord
maybe-
doesn't like that demon. That's all it
maybe
is.
maybe the demon lord should handle that demon instead of going after the humans.
Well, maybe he can't. I don't know. I don't even know what a demon lord is in this world.
I don't know. Me neither. But then Snow tries to manipulate him a little bit to fight for her because she's like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you're an inward,
they want the
you're
same
strong." Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go, they go to this ancient relic, right? And she's like, "This is where we used to get rain from. This is the royal family would pray for rain, and this would grant us rain." And Alice is like, "Yeah, that's just a machine. I can fix it." So she fixed it. So they've been broke because they've been having to buy water from other countries because without rain they'd have no water. But Alice fixes it, and then it's like, we need a new password. And the version that I watched, our main character Six just gets this wicked grin on his face, and he's like, the new password is penis calibration. In the version I watched, what did it say on yours? DC?
Dick Festival!
Dick Festival. There you go. And he had this little clever, like, it will be very funny to watch the royal family have to say it. And he imagined both the princess and the king.
Well,
that was
he imagined the princess because that was going to get him the most evil points. He's like, ha ha ha! This is going to give me evil points.
He'll be
then
embarrassed
Alice is
every
just
time she has to say
yeah.
it.
And Alice is just like, there's other members of the royal family.
And the king, in his imagining of the king was just like full frontal flash in the crowd yelling.
Just comes out naked.
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
like a.
That's why I
Penis
said
calibration.
it had some good moments.
Yeah, okay, it did have some good moments. And then, so, he resets it, and then, unsurprisingly, they get in trouble for that. But, at the same time, they're like, but you did fix it. So, I guess we won't, kill you. So, then pretty much, they get picked up by the military, and Snow's like...
the princess hires them and makes them the head of her whatever.
Yeah, the thing with the thing. And Snow doesn't want to do it. And then they spend the last few minutes roasting the heck out of Snow, which was entertaining.
He's your superior. Know your place, trash.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny, though. And then you find out that he's in charge, because the ending's like playing. You find out that he gets in charge of a guerrilla force, and Snow's his captain, but she doesn't respect him. And then the demons are, like, starting to approach, and then you go back to... After all that, you go back to the evil villain HQ, where it's literally just the two ladies, and the scientist lady, and you find out they literally threw dice to choose who was gonna go.
It was just a random dice roll.
And Astaroth, the one that he was talking about, her parents, she seems not happy that he was chosen. They were kind of like implying that it was literally between the four of them of who was gonna go. Yeah. That's their corporation, guys, and. Maybe if I'm looking for a chuckle or if I'm really bored, I'll pick up this anime. But right now I have so many other things. Like, as I said, not that I hated it, but some of the things are just... Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the jokes were just, like, if you've seen a comedy anime, you kind of get the idea for all of them.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. The animation was good, though.
It was solid animation. It really was.
It was. I mean, it was really colorful. The lines were drawn well. I didn't have anything to complain about with the animation. And when the little bit of 3D with the dogs, that was not bad at all. Not bad at all. It was fine. And so, yeah, I mean,
it looked okay.
I'll give it a solid, 6.5 out of 10. Not the worst, not the greatest.
Yeah, that's what I gave it. I gave it like a 6 out of 10. I was like,
Yeah.
It's pretty par for the course comedy.
If you like comedy anime, and I imagine this one's going to be a short one, just kind of slapstick, and I'm sure there's going to be a romance element to it too. Check it out for yourself.
Maybe.
I like it. But the dude's a perv, and some locations that can be good, and some ways it can be bad. It depends on the writing. So
He kind of like after he got away from the ladies, he kind of really simmered down on it.
yeah, he didn't actually perv on the robot Alice at all.
He didn't perv on the robot. He didn't really perv on the captain girl, even though he could have. He had many chances to.
And his
Not
perving on the
really.
princess
Like, he
was
didn't-
not bad. It was just like,
Yeah.
oh, she's so pretty. Like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Like when the girl like was coming up to him and being like, oh, we're kind of similar. I thought that was gonna go one way, where he was gonna like give into that perviness, and then he didn't.
Yeah, I did. I'll give him that. Is that his perviness was kind of in one location. It was too much, but he did also know those two, and I don't know much about the corporation. But then the rest of it was all right. It was all right.
Yeah.
You have another one for us, DC?
Yeah, Eden Zero. Eden Zero is based off of a manga, which is Eden Zero.
Okay.
Which was written by the creator of Fairy Tail and the creator of Rave, which we start off with our little buddy Shiki.
Shiki.
He is sitting on his planet, wherever he's at, looking at the stars, and he's sitting there with Grandpa Robot, who's telling him, oh look, he sees like a shooting star. He's like, oh, what's that? And he's like, that's a dragon. He's like, really? And the guy's like, no, I think it's a comet. And he's just like, I got you, Shiki, ha ha ha. And one of the things the Grandpa Robot says is, we won't know if it's a dragon or a comet, so you go and see for yourself.
Okay.
Like, it's just how it is. You haven't seen the stars, so how can you say what it is? You won't know until you go and see it. So then we go, he tells him he wants him to meet loads of people and make lots of friends.
Okay.
And that if he goes out into space, he can find Mother, who can grant any wish.
Okay, Mother that can grant any wish.
So we then get to a boat heading towards a place called the Grand Ball Kingdom. And we get introduced to our secondary main character, Rebecca, and Happy. Yes, Happy's back. Happy the cat is back.
I don't understand how Happy can canonically be a part of two separate universes, but carry on.
Because Hiro likes to reuse a lot of his characters. Like, he uses Plu, he brings Plu back, he brings back, like, Orion Sace, stuff like that. He likes to reuse elements from his mangas. And so she goes to Grand Ball Kingdom, which they haven't had a guest in 100 years. And it's the place where all of your fantasies come true, because it's basically a giant theme park.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these robots, like, it's just a bunch of robots who are like, hey, what's your dream? They do this big intro, there's fireworks and everything, and she's just like, oh, I want to have 1 million subscribers to my channel. Which feels...
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
So they go off. She wants to record. She wants to go off on an adventure to do these recordings. They end up going and meeting a kitty dragon. It's literally a giant robot cat dragon, which, boom, falls down, gets destroyed. They get introduced to Shiki. There's like some misunderstandings, some ecchi. He's just like, will you be my friend? And she's just like, no!
Oh, okay.
Because he's never met a human girl before, so he doesn't know proper etiquette.
Alright, I'll give you that.
they end up going back to the castle area. He follows her, tries to be her friend. They have this big old feast in the name of, having a guest for the first time in 100 years. One of the robots runs off to this castle. There's an old king, and he's talking to the old king. And we find out from Rebecca that she comes from a place called Blue Garden, and she finds out that Shiki repairs the robots while he's there. He does his little repairs. And at one point in time, he decides that it's time to go to sleep now.
Okay.
And he just falls asleep. Just time to go to sleep now. Destroys the table. And she gets told that this robot that played the role of the Demon King found Shiki 10 years ago and adopted him as his own grandchild. And so now,
sounds, familiar.
Yeah, so now the Demon King is no longer around because he broke down and couldn't be repaired anymore. And so the robots kind of start shaking and acting a little weird. And nighttime, Rebecca goes to sleep, and she wakes up, and she's tied to a stake, and the king
That's
robot's out there. Yeah, and he's like, we're gonna execute the humans. Secretly, what we've been really waiting for is for humans with a ship to come to this island so that we can, get off this island. Robots were never meant to serve humans. Yada yada yada. Like ha ha ha. And Shiki's like, what do you mean? He's like, didn't I fix you? Aren't we friends? And they're like, no, we just pretended. Everyone has a role here, and you had the role of the mechanic. And what actually was fixing us is the land's automatic machine. Like, there's a auto repair machine that fixes everybody. And so Shiki ends up having to fight the king, who is a combat robot, with a thing called Aether Gear. He has Aether Gear, which allows him to manipulate gravity. So he's manipulating gravity, fighting. He grabs Rebecca and gets her out of there. And they get to Rebecca's ship, and he's like, "Oh, is this really a ship?" And she's like, "Yeah." And it starts taking off into the air, and she's like, "It's a ship, a spaceship." And she blasts off into space. We see the comet come back by, and Shiki's like, "Oh, a comet." And she's like, "No, that's not a comet. It's a dragon." And it's literally just a robotic space dragon that's just flying through space. Yeah.
Okay.
And so it goes back to the island, where it's revealed that Grand Ball was actually an entire planet, and the whole planet is an amusement park. But nobody's been there for a while, and you find out that the system that repairs all of the robots is breaking down. It's going to cease functioning, and they can't do anything to fix it. So all of the robots just wanted to try and get Shiki to leave the planet, and they just stayed alive for as long as they could to protect him, to make sure that he wasn't lonely, until somebody came with a ship that could take him and get him off of the world. So they played the role of the evil robots to convince him to leave. And after he leaves, they all just start breaking down. Because they no longer have the energy to maintain functions anymore. And so it was their entire goal to just get Shiki off the planet so he'll be safe and he'll have friends and be protected. So it's just really nice. And his friend Michael says that he wished that he didn't have a heart, and wished that robots couldn't feel, because he didn't realize that it would hurt so much.
Oh, wow.
But it's really nice, and you find out that Lucy comes from, her planet is Blue Garden, and she is basically a space YouTuber.
A space YouTuber?
Yeah, pretty much. She's a space YouTuber.
Oh, okay. Sure.
But yeah, it is a really good series. It's got a lot of heart to it. It's got some comedy. If you like Fairy Tail, you'll like it. If you like, Rave Master, you'll like it.
I never watched Fairy Tail. Or no, I did watch Fairy Tail. I got in close to the end, and because I'm watching it with a friend again, so I'm not gonna watch it without her. Cole, I'm looking at you. You are the friend that I'm talking about in this case. I love you, boo. But I never got to watch Rave Master because Plu was in it, and I was just like, he plays such an inconsequential role. I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about like
Well,
Happy being like a whole fleshed out character in a different. I don't know. It's weird, but I dig it. I dig it.
Happy has a really interesting background in Eden Zero. But yeah, it's a good series. I would recommend checking it out. What else
What's your
you got?
rating?
Probably first episode, good 7, 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, a good 7
Yeah.
or 8. Not perfect, but it's a good solid start.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I can't. I don't know if I want to do this one next or this one next, because.
You want to do Mars Red?
Yeah, we could talk about more.
1923 Japan.
Yeah, vampires.
Vampires in 1923 Japan.
Now, when I hear an anime about vampires, my pitching is like, we have like pulsing vampires, or like Vampire Night vampires, or
Yeah, you don't.
Twilight vampires. I hope
The
so.
first episode doesn't really explore vampires,
No.
but it does have a very sad story.
Yeah, well, pretty much. We could even summarize this quicker than just anything else. Pretty much, there's this dude that just gets to whatever. Where are they even at? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really. I think they're in. It actually
A
doesn't really.
fictional
Tokyo.
city. Are they Tokyo?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, dude gets to Tokyo, and they're doing this new task force thing. They're working on building it. There's a lady that the government has captured that, like a couple days ago, she was a human, and then she was reciting for something. She had a stage accident.
She was in the middle of a play, and there was a stage accident. She healed from her injuries within 4 hours.
Yes. And so they have her down in this facility, which vampires can't swim.
No, the myth of vampires can't cross water.
Running water, I guess, but they have her.
That's
so it's like
very
a little
common.
island facility, and you go down and down and down and down and down and down.
Oh, the door gag.
Door
gag was great.
And then you
Freaking
finally get in there,
stairs,
and
hallway, door, stairs, hallway, door, stairs, door. We're here.
they finally get down there, and they have it so that way if something goes wonky, then they can flood it. They can flood the chamber.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of drowned the vampires. So pretty much the dude goes down there, and this lady is she's just reciting the lines from her play. Like, she's stuck in the loop reciting her lines, and it's do you have any idea of what play it is, or is it fictional?
It's just a fictional play. Yeah, it's just a fictional play. Because I've never heard of it at all, but it's got like elements of Shakespeare and stuff like that. And she's reciting, I wished to, my lips to your lips, blah 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 blah. And it's very interesting because you see very brief flashes of recognition in her. Like, because she says
like the one time he goes to leave and she actually breaks out of it and says goodbye.
Yeah, and then he looks back and she's right back into character.
Uh-huh.
Or like later on in the episode when he's like doing his writing and she's like doing her recital and then she does, oh, what cute handwriting, and he looks up and she's right back into it again. She's back into her.
Yeah, and she also called him beautiful at one point too.
Mm-hmm.
And that one I wasn't sure because her tone changed. I watched the dub. Her tone changed a little bit. Dub was fantastic. Sub was fantastic
too.
I imagine it was good.
Yeah.
And because she was sitting here and the moon and this and that, and she'd pause and she'd go, "You're a beautiful man."
Yeah.
And then he like looked up and he went, "What?" And then she went,
it was always when he wasn't paying attention, when he was focused on something else. Yeah. So he talks to his boss. His boss is like, "Can she be turned?" He's like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Well, she can't. That's your job. Take her out." And he goes like explores the theater where the accident was.
They also mentioned that since she was a very powerful vampire, a very powerful vampire had to turn her.
One of the ancient vampires.
Now, did you happen to notice the vampire that was at the theater that no
100%. That was 100% a woman and a vampire. That was a woman and a vampire.
I don't know if that was a woman. I think it was a boy child. Because a vampire's immortality, the
Mm.
permanent baby face. But
No, I'm thinking it's a woman because it was very common back in like the 1920s to have a female play a male role.
well,
Like
then the
Peter
dub
Pan.
I might ruin that fiction because the dub he had definitely a young man's voice,
Oh, in the sub it was a woman, 100%.
which
The
is
sub
common.
it was a woman. But yeah, clearly a vampire. I mean, the eyes, the way, like it looked like he had fangs.
His
Clearly
name
a
is
vampire.
Dufron. Dufron.
From
Dufron.
Yeah, and you just the scene with the pillar on the ground and like tons of blood everywhere. You're just like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well, with the act, because he talks to him and he's like, he was in the performance with her,
Yeah.
and he's like, I wanted to show, I loved the performance. She was a great actress,
Yeah.
So it's
Well-
definitely like he definitely turned her. That was,
yeah,
that was
especially
awesome.
because when he was talking to the guy, he mentioned you get a stigmata, which is just a mark where you're bit, and it's on her tongue, and the whole play is your tongue to
It was
my
when
tongue.
you're bit.
Yeah, where
Oh.
you're bit.
It was where you're bit. Okay,
Yes.
it didn't say that in the dub, or I missed it.
Mhm.
It also said it, but I missed it.
Yeah, in the
And-
sub it says the stigmata appears where you are bit.
So he bit her tongue.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He had to have been because the whole play was my tongue to your tongue, your mouth to my mouth. That's what happened because they were like, she may have been
I
turned
mean,
before.
that's one way to get away with it and not get
Yeah.
caught in front of an audience. Just while
Exactly.
you're smacking on somebody, just give it a little bit of snacking on somebody. I mean,
Exactly. And so I really liked when she was giving her lines and stopped doing the male part because it turns and it cuts to him in the theater and he's
Doing
doing the
his
male part and it's counter and that's really cool.
I did like that. I did quite
Yeah.
enjoy. I mean, we do see it. We do see it in other media used like that, but they just did it perfectly. It wasn't
Yeah.
like an overused trope the way they did it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
yeah.
it. So,
And so
yeah. go ahead.
we get then the sad thing happens where she
Whoa.
escapes.
Well, don't forget there was also that reporter that looks exactly
Well,
like
yeah,
her.
but that
I don't
was
think
nothing.
she was. I don't think she was. Well, I had a theory. I don't think she's
Yeah.
as much reporter as the actress's younger sister, and she's trying to snoop for what's going on and where's her sister at.
Yeah, maybe, but
That's what I'm thinking.
for this episode that went
Mind
nowhere.
you, I had another theory. I'll get to that, but don't forget now our main dude, our major dude, what is his Yosimaru Myra
Yeah, he has a fiance he has never met,
fiance he's never met exactly.
and
And then-
he got back 3 days early,
Hmm.
and the woman who was doing the play wanted to do the play for her lover, as it was said, but he wasn't going to arrive for another 2 or 3 days. So you're kind of building this. I see what's going on here,
Yes.
and
And then-
to harken back though, the scene where that is mentioned that he has a fiance. Did you notice that it was really interesting that it kept switching the lights based off of who was talking,
Yeah.
like a stage play?
It was very cinematic.
Yeah, it was
to-
very play-like, but yeah, it was
And
interesting.
And okay, so then you're right. The sad happens. She does get out, but here's the thing: is she somehow escapes. They don't flood the cell, but she somehow escapes. She doesn't kill one person. She
No,
injures
she
a whole bunch.
really comes like she really seems like she wants to, and then she pulls herself back every single time.
She didn't hurt not one person.
And she
And
continues
so-
doing her lines.
Yeah, she's doing her lines. So he chases after her, and he eventually finds her on the streets outside
Well,
the theater.
Well, what's interesting, he doesn't chase after her. He beats her to where she was gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
He
That's-
gets there first. He's already decided where she's gonna end up.
DC, you
And-
froze for me. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it better? Okay, it's
Oh
good
my
now.
God.
It's all good now.
You're fine. You're fine now. But yeah, so he gets there, and she's and they start talking, and she's doing her lines, and she comes
Yeah.
very close, and she just almost bites him, like you said, and then she
Yeah.
goes back,
And
and he goes to draw a sword, and she puts her hand on his sword, and she's still talking
Yeah.
about her lines, and
well, that's kind of when she shifts and is no longer talking about the lines. Really.
well, she also was like teleporting and stuff, which is like that was like she could have killed him 3 times over.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He was
And-
like completely entranced by her, what she was saying and talking to him about. And she's teleporting behind him and then in front of him, and then
yeah.
and like she was doing like this dance and everything. And then she's like, "I'm thrilled to have finally met you. I wished I'd been able to kiss you."
Mhm.
And then she steps back into a beam of sunlight
and
and
just whoosh.
burst into flame.
Yeah, that was like, oh man.
And she left the stigmata on the ground where she.
Yeah,
burst.
which is also interesting that it leaves a stigmata.
That definitely was his fiance. That's
Yeah,
my
100%.
theory. I know it's crazy.
And
That's far out there.
then for his good work, he gets promoted 2 ranks. Which
You sat there and watched your fiance burn to death. Here's 2 promotions, big guy.
Let's be honest. This happens within like a 24-hour period. And in that 24 hours, essentially, he finds out about his fiance, finds out his fiance's a vampire, watches his fiance die, and then gets promoted 2 ranks for it. Like,
better than him having to kill her.
yeah, it was better.
Because
but...
I think that was almost like she knew.
Hmm.
And that's why she steeled her blade, said her goodbye, and stepped back. Like, she knew. And she didn't want to have that on him.
It was really good,
and then we see the boy actor, and he's quoting more the lines, and it's something about beauty was put to death and stuff like that. It was very poetic, and he's promoted. So he's put at the head of Code Zero. So the vampire apprehension something.
Their whole plan is to get vampires to fight vampires.
Right there, scribbled in a corner, but the outro song with the visuals and the song, it slaps. I quite enjoyed the outro song.
What do you rate it?
And then, we also... I wrote a synopsis afterwards. I don't know why. But, I enjoyed that. I definitely, that might be in the works for one of the polls, options for Anime Club for Season 4. Who knows? Stay tuned. It had a decent animation, very more instead of like the big bulbous eyes, the over exaggerated bodies. It was more of a realistic.
Yeah, still kept to the anime eyes, but not like the crazy ones.
Yeah, no, it was definitely more of a somber, more serious style. And as I said, I watched the dub. It was great. If we don't pick this up for Anime Club, I will definitely continue watching this anime. I'm gonna give it I wanted to know more about the vampires. I want to know more about the world, but it's only episode 1. Yeah. I'm still gonna give it an 8. 8 out of 10.
I give it a 7, just because I was like, I don't know if I want to continue watching it yet. I would have liked to have had a little bit more development into the world.
Now, see,
rather than focusing so much on the characters. Well, it's nice that they did that, but it didn't really explain like anything.
Well, as you and I were just BSing before we started, I actually was going to give it a lower rating. I was going to go like 7-ish. Because it was not the greatest. It was not super riveting, but it was still interesting. But then I watched another reviewer talk about it, and I went, this dude's got some good points. There has not been many anime that's been addressed in this fashion. There's not been many other vampires in any media that's addressed like this. Most of the time, it's like vampires are these horrible creatures, or vampires are the saviors of mankind. Vampire, 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 vampire. And we have sort of an air of mystery of what kind of vampires these are and where they would fall into.
I kind of disagree with that assessment, because it is very much a basic trope. It followed a basic trope of person who gets turned into vampire but does not want to feed, so instead kills themselves. It was a very basic trope. The only thing was like it's never had like a weird mark.
Well, there was never anything about her feeding or anything like that.
She clearly was trying to. She had to stop herself from doing it.
Well, maybe they were starving her down there. Maybe she had a reason. Sorry, I laughed because my dog came up and pushed her nose against my leg, so it was like this.
But that's what I mean. She was fighting her vampirism. This is a very common trope. She obviously wanted to feed, because she kept going towards Nex and having to pull herself back.
Well, if you're hungry and you're offered a cheeseburger.
Well, I'm just saying, it still, I think that we've never seen vampires like this before is kind of a little, it's a little early to call. We've never seen vampires
like this. I meant like portrayed like this, because normally...
it's a little premature for that, because we didn't really get much of a portrayal. We haven't seen the vampires themselves, we just saw one person, and it was a common trope.
But yeah.
Maybe.
That was definitely a vampire.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah. So what do you got?
I also watched The World Ends With You, the animation, which is based off the game, and it covers the first 3 days of the Reaper's game, which the Reaper's game is a 7 days. You get a mission every day, and if you, it's like, oh, go to, like, the first mission's go to 104 in 1 hour or face erasure, which erasure means you are gone, you are erased. And we follow our boy Neku. He's the main character. He wakes up in the middle of Shibuya, in the middle of the road, doesn't know what's going on. Nobody responds to him. He like can move through people and hear their thoughts. And he teams up with, you know, I think her name is actually Shiki, but he teams up with this girl to fight off the noise, which are the monsters. And
The monsters are called the Noise.
yes, they're called noise.
Okay.
And so it covers the first 3 days of the game, where he finds out about the Reaper game.
That dude's
He's-
hair.
Oh, it's glorious. It is glorious hair.
Definitely pro tag hair.
Yes. So the whole animation is actually 3D, which is very interesting. The
Is it
whole
good
animation is.
3D?
It's really hard to tell that it's 3D sometimes.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
Carry on.
So it goes through the first 3 days of the game. First day they have to get to 104. That's the mission over. They go to sleep because literally once the mission is beat, you only have so much time in the day. Then it's the next day. You don't
Okay.
get control over it. So he meets up with her again, and they end up meeting the two other characters, Beat and Rhyme.
Okay.
That's their names.
Beat and rhyme. All right.
Beat
Do we
and
have a
Rhyme.
rhythm in here somewhere? Maybe a
No.
metronome?
No, but you have Beat and Rhyme, and they end up teaming up a little bit to free this statue. Neku kind of goes off on his own and starts like a little wild. They have to free a dog statue. That's literally their mission for the day. Free the dog statue, which is being surrounded by wolf noise. So they beat him up, and Neku's like starting to get angry. He doesn't know why. And he releases this giant burst of fire, and it cuts to 2 Reapers. Reapers are the ones that kind of summon noise. Their job is to try and kill players.
Oh, okay.
That's their whole job.
PK.
Yeah. So they end up like coming down, and they're like, "Hey, tell you what, Neku, we'll make you a deal. Kill that girl, and we'll release you from the game."
Rude.
And Neku's being controlled by the noise because when you have negative emotions like anger, confusion, things like that, that starts causing you to be taken over by these noise. And so he's like summoning up magic, choking her, and this dude comes out. He's got glasses. His name is Sane. He's not officially named in the episode yet, but he grabs Neku's arm. He's like, "Stop that." And he tells the Reapers off. He's like, "Hey, first of all, you're not allowed to give out missions, only the Game Master is. Second of all, Reapers are the only one who's allowed to directly attack players is the Game Master, and only on day 7. And he's like, "You gotta follow the rules, little lady."
Sure.
Yeah. And then we get to day 3. Neku's like worried because he attacked her. He didn't want to. That was just, he got manipulated. And he's like, she's not there. And he's like, of course, she's not going to be there, whatever. She shows up. She's like, hey! And they have a moment. They apologize with each other. And they get a new mission, which is to go to this club and defeat the boss of this club. So she's excited to go because the band 777 is going to be there. Woo, 777. They're a punk band.
Go.
So they go, they see this dude who's like, you know.
Band, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right.
So they go, you know, this dude's being controlled, and by noise, they beat the noise with a special combo attack, like they kind of do in One Piece all the time, the special combo attacks. And so,
Unison Raid from Fairy
What?
Tail. Unison Raid from Fairy Tail.
yeah. So, boom, they beat it. Then he's like, oh, hey, I'll take you to, you know, the place. That's where I'm going. And they meet the lead singer from 777, which that's what they're called. They're called 37, but it's 777, but they're called 37. So they meet him.
3A's, triple A.
Yeah, no, it's just 37. So he gives them special concert merch, which in game is actually a key, but in this one it's just a pin. And they go in. There's this bat noise. Beat and Rhyme show up. The four of them team up. Beat and Rhyme start taking down like the little minions, and Neku and Chigi, they take down the big old monster. Boom! And it ends with this the start of day 4, as well as cutting to the this other area where a man and a lady are talking, and this dude comes in, and she's like, "You're 9 minutes and 42 seconds late." He's like, "Whatever," and they introduce the new Game Master. And the Game Master is the one, like I said, he's the one that... Yeah, the Game Master makes up the challenges for the day, and the Game Master is the one that is allowed to directly attack players on day 7.
Oh.
So, it is all set up for the first 3 days of the week-long Reaper game. And apparently it's going to be 12 episodes, so that's pretty awesome. But it's really good. The animation's really good. The music is great because it's
strange, especially coming from us who most of the time hate 3D animation.
I don't hate 3D. I hate when you mix 3D with 2D.
See, I don't like 3D period unless it's done well.
It's like I said, it's really hard to tell that this is 3D a lot of the time. They do a really good job with it, like a really good job. Sometimes it's really obvious, other times it's really hard to tell. And just, the fight scenes were really good, the music was really good, but it's just the music from the game, so of course it's really good. But okay. I'm glad that they brought in the game music and everything. It's a solid anime.
That is good. You know, because that's what you... the game came out first, and if you're someone who likes the game, that's what you want to see in the anime, too. Similar...
If you like the game, it's definitely a 10 out of 10, because it really does feel like the game. And... the pacing is kind of like the game's pacing. The first 3 days went by really fast, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they're gonna animate some of the twists and turns.
Nice, or maybe they'll change the story. Who knows?
They shouldn't. The story is really solid.
Well, you want to know the last one I'm going to talk about?
Is it the one I think it is?
Look. I mentioned this anime and cast because look, it's got a dragon in it. I will not accept ask for liking dragons. Okay, I will not accept your judgment. I won't. Like, there's literally a dragon shelf up there behind me somewhere, and there's humans and elves and dwarfs and gnomes and slimes and what have you, whatever you want. But dragons are the superior. They're the strong, magical, powerful dragon kind, but some dragons aren't. And then we get our opening, and then we have like this open house thing, but it was an elf showing off a cave to a male and a female slime, and it was hilarious. It was just like, oh look, this is where we could put our this and that, and it was just with slimes and an elf, and that elf, by the way, that elf is a very handsome boy. But, and then they're like, oh, we're afraid of humans. We come to find out, humans are like the big bad of this world because they go hunting and to level up and da-da-da-da-da. They go hunting for monsters. So then we see our red dragon family, and we see our youngest red dragon. His name is Letty. He's been ousted from his home and booted out from his nest because he fell asleep while guarding one of the eggs in the nest, and his dad was very unhappy with him. He's a young dragon. And they lost the egg to some adventurers. So he's like, he has very bad stats. He pulls out this little card, and like the stats like hover over it. He has very bad stats. He can't do anything at all. He can't survive on his own. And he sits there, and the first time you see him, he just sits there and cries about his situation for at least 5 minutes.
That's too long.
Well, okay, no, that might be over-exaggerating. At least 3. And then he remembers a story about trolls and dwarves and gnomes, and they build houses. So he goes on a journey to go find a house. And so he first stops and sees the dwarves, which you see in that picture, that down there. Because it's double backwards from down there. And he walks up to the dwarves and he goes, "Hi, can you build me a house?" And they put him in a cage, and then he starts bawling and crying his eyes out. And they're like, "Okay, look, kid, look, we'll build you a house. We just want your horns, your organs, your skin, And he's like, "Wait a minute. At this point, the very best thing I can hope for is be made into a cool weapon." He escapes from them by going, "Someone's stealing your gold," and then he gets away. And then it's just like this revolving thing. And then after that, he goes to the elder's just like, "Yeah, look, you're a dragon. Grow up. Take care of yourself." So then he finds some harpies. The harpies are like, "Oh, you poor thing, come live with us." He can't fly, so he cannot make it to their nest. They do this whole thing where they try to get him to jump off the edge of a cliff and flap his wings, and
Terrible dragon if he can't fly.
yeah, he can't. He has not unlocked the fly skill.
Okay.
He has like an attack of 2. He's like a level 1 dragon. And so then she's like, "Okay, we'll go see the goblins." The goblins capture him, and they're like, "Let's have this dude for dinner." And then the goblins feel sorry for him, and he's like, you're a dragon, and you came to goblins for help? Okay. So the goblins send him on, and then he meets one of what do you call those little fish? Samhans? Fish people? Yeah, I've been playing games with those little turtle fish people with the little friar tuck bald spot for ever, but they call them samhans or something like that. But yeah, anyway. So the goblins and everyone's teasing him, and most creatures are like, either this guy's pathetic or he's gonna eat me. And then he comes up to the salmon, and he's the samhain, whatever, and he's like, the dude's like, "Yeah, come live with me." Dragon jumps in the water. Never swim before, can't breathe underwater. So eventually, after all this, he's like, "Look, go east. Go find the tree of Yggdrasil, and there's an elf that lives there that does real estate. He will take care of you, okay?" So then we have little dragons going on his little journey, a couple little hiccups here and there, but most of the time he's just like walking with the birds and playing with the bunnies. And there's this big green field, and he has a second of, "I'm gonna run there," and then he's just like, "No more running." It was funny. And
Terrible dragon.
Yes, and then so eventually he runs into these adventurers that are like, "We're gonna slay you," and the dragon's like, "Look, I really don't want to fight, guys. I don't want to fight. Can I just keep going on my way, and you guys, no, it don't work." The adventurers give this long-winded adventurer speech, and then the little dragon calls him out. He's like, "Wait, you call yourselves heroes?" Like, "Yes, we call ourselves heroes." He's like, "Wait, other people are supposed to call you heroes. That's a little conceited of you." Pisses off the adventurers. They start trying to attack him. It was funny because the little dragon's trying to talk down the swordsman, and the archer's just going, "Pink, pink," and you see -1 HP, -1 HP, -1 HP, as he's just pinking at the little dragon. And then, so, Dearia, our elf dude, Dearia, his name is Dearia, Dearia, like, picking on the weak is bad, pops out of behind a tree, pulls open his spell book, and literally vaporizes all 4 adventurers in the party. They are reduced to nothing but bones and ash. And our little dragon had, like, passed out from fear, and he's like, "Are you okay?" He tells him his sob story. He's like, "We'll take care of you. Come on, buddy." And so it's funny, and then that's pretty much, like, it comes up to the end, but the elf dude's really hot. That's why I'm gonna watch this anime. I'm not even gonna lie. Elf dude, Dearia.
We all figured that. Everyone figured this out.
I'm going to continue watching.
What's your score for it, and not based off of just the hot elf dude?
Look, the dragon's cute, but while I can understand his situation, he's pretty much like the mentality of one of my children getting thrown out on their own, and they probably would cry a lot as well. But I think they would fare a little better. If you want fantasy with a little bit of comedy and to laugh at a pathetic dragon, this is the anime for you. But if you've had enough of that genre, I understand. I'm gonna give it like a 7. It was entertaining for me. Was not the greatest. The crying was a little over the top at some points, but I get it. I understand why. Just the way it was presented, it was too much. And it's just, they made the dragonette too pathetic. They made this baby dragon just to the point where it wasn't even sympathy. I couldn't feel sympathy for it anymore. It was just too. It was, And some people might like that, find it funny. I don't. It's more of like a, oh, I don't find that funny. This is pretty much a child that they're tormenting. Because yes, it's a dragon, but it's also a child dragon. But yeah, so if you are interested in it or have seen more of it than I have, let me know. and let me know if you think it's worth watching. I'm gonna give it another episode or two and see, because there was an after the credits thing that the Dearlia was talking about the average walking speed and how to price house. He was talking about real estate. And it's like, okay, we have a very the humans did also call him demon, and I'm just like, they're like, oh no, it's the demon, and I'm like, is it? Because that'd be an elf. So I am interested mainly for Dearlia, not gonna lie, but I'll give it a couple more episodes and see what happens. So
I just have a couple shout-out animes.
okay, shout out.
Odd Taxi, I give it a 9 out of 10. It's a mystery about... It's animal anime, mystery, it's like the most like cynical taxi driver in the world. But the mysteries like it presents are really like engaging, really interesting. The Shaman King anime, I'm giving it an 8 or 9 out of 10.
I haven't seen the Shaman King, so I might watch the remake.
I don't like the voice actor for the main character. They went with a female voice actor, and it just sounds wrong because like it just straight up sounds like he's a girl.
Oh.
Instead of sounding like he's 13, he just sounds like a girl. So 8 or 9 out of 10. It's really close to the original like manga and stuff like that. And then Tokyo Revengers, time traveling delinquent.
Okay, what do you rate it?
7 out of 10, just because the main character was a little whiny, but basically he finds out he's able to go back in time 12 years into the past with the goal of stopping his ex-girlfriend from being killed in a gang war.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting concept. Time-traveling delinquent tries to stop his ex-girlfriend from being killed in a gang war.
I mean, that's better than a lot of other goals that I've heard about.
Yeah, no, it's also just a very interesting concept. Which, yeah.
2021 animes have a lot of good ones, so let us know in the comments or the chat, or even hop in the Discord and let us know which Spring 2021 animes you're watching, which ones you're excited for, and which ones you couldn't care less about. If you disagree with DC and I's opinions, let's hear him. We don't.
So, yes, but let's jump into Anime Club. What is Anime Club? Anime Club is where we get together and we watch anime. We're currently watching Dr. Amune, Mysterious Disease Specialist, and King's Avatar. Today's first episode, though, is Dr. Amune, Mysterious Disease Specialist, Episode 12, Dr. Amune, Mysterious Disease Specialist.
Okay.
Which, I have the most basic summary for this episode.
Go on.
Dr. Amune is feeling bad, so Kuro gathers up all of his old patients to make him feel better.
Yeah, but why is he feeling bad? Because Mommy G, big old
Mommy G told him, yeah, you gotta stop being a doctor. But,
because you care too much.
Yeah, literally though, this was the worst. I'm sorry, this was the worst season-ending episode of any anime.
And
it is
especially with the vibe for all the other episodes, there was no comedy in this. It was just like Dr. Amune is depressed and doesn't know how to handle his emotions or communicate.
So Kuro gathers up all the people that he's scared to have a picnic and make him feel better. That is literally just the episode. That's all that happens. He feels bad, so Kuro goes and gathers up all of his old patients and cheers them up.
I did like that they did a call back to the other episodes, because a lot of times in animes like these that you can pretty much watch in any episodic order unless it's part 1 or part 2, that what happened in the past doesn't really matter. But no, we see our condiment girl, and we see the character skin.
Most of this can be watched out of order. Most of Dr. Amune can be watched out of order, but there's no point in really spending a lot of time on the summary for this.
I did like that, because Kudo was a little conflicted. I did want to mention the fact that Kudo's cured. He doesn't have to do his medicine anymore. And then he's talking to Dr. Amune, and he's like, "Do you want me to keep coming back?" And Dr. Amune at first is like, "Yeah, totally." And then
he's like, "If you don't want to, you don't have to."
Because he's like, "You're my assistant," and then that hurts Kuro's feelings for whatever reason. Instead of, "No, you don't need to come anymore." No, he says, "Only if you want to."
Yeah, no, the conflict in this episode is completely manufactured. There's no conflict. It's completely unnecessary, and honestly, a lot of what happened in the anime throughout the series apparently was just completely pointless and unnecessary.
I thought maybe I just misunderstood the meaning of if you want to, you can do this, because I
Yeah,
hear
you
that.
don't-
And I think,
yeah,
if I feel like doing that thing, I'm invited to do it, or I could not do
Yeah,
it, and the person
where-
that's offering will not be bothered either way.
especially if
So-
he's like, yeah, sure, you can stay. I mean, well, you don't have to if you don't want to. You can come back if you want to. If you want to still be my assistant, you can. And like, okay, Doc, I'll still be your assistant. Like, that's all. Okay, bye. Like, it's
Yeah.
just manufactured to have Kuro cheer him up.
Yeah, pretty much. But and then
Yeah, it's
Kuro
dumb.
does this whole thing where he's really conflicted about it, and he's talking to everybody trying to figure it out.
Again,
And then
for
Shun
no
and
reason.
him are in class, and Shun takes his squeaky toys, and he's just like, "Hold on, there we go."
Yeah, no, it's all for no reason.
That
It's
was
all.
the therapy that made Kuro figure it
Yeah.
out. Just
This episode was stupid.
squeaky toys in the face. I
This
grabbed both Deku's. That's funny.
this episode was stupid, and I don't know. I was hoping
So-
for something.
Yeah, Kuro. Yeah, I was hoping for some Mommy G, maybe a Ramune versus Mommy G. Maybe like they had a
Like,
patient
there
that
was-
Mommy G went,
yeah,
I don't
no.
know what to do, and then Ramune, how much he cares, actually was help cure the patient. That would have been great.
Momiji served no purpose in this series.
Momiji was in the episode because he told Kuro that's why I said that to him, and this is why I said that, because
Yeah,
he's gonna
'cause
hurt
he's just gonna-
himself.
Yeah. Wait, but no, Momiji served no purpose in this series. Literally would have been pretty much the same series without him.
It would have
He
been
did
almost better
all
if he was like
his-
this shadowy,
yeah.
ominous figure in the
Yeah,
distance.
his
It's
whole
like if
purpose
we renew
throughout
for
this.
season 2, maybe we'll learn about him. Like,
Yeah, that would have been better because his use in this series was literally just to make Ramune feel bad for episode 12, so that they could have a picnic. Which
What about the book?
literally, yeah, the book. No reason for that. Which he could
that
have
didn't
been.
happen. It doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't matter.
Why did he have a piece of paper?
Oh, you did a
that-
s'more!
I didn't. I said fuck. Why did he have a piece of paper that had a mark on it because he was going to a set location, but that was unimportant. We don't need to worry about that. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff that you could have just had you could have just had Kuro be like, hey, it's Ramune's birthday, so I'm gonna get all of the patients he's cured and we're gonna have a picnic. That could have been the exact same reason for this picnic, because it was nothing.
Yeah, you're right. And
So that was...
there was some cute when everyone was together and eating. Oh, and Grandma Lolly and Nico brought Mommy G to the barbecue, but he
And
was
he left.
being a salty jerk and just was like, nah. And he like
'Cause-
literally came and saw that Ramune was there and was like, I have better things
Because
to
he
do."
served no purpose, it was no reason for him to be there.
But and then he continually insults Dr. Ramune, even though like even Grandma Lolly's like he's proud of him, but he's worried about him. Like
And
there's only so much of that toxic behavior that I'm gonna be like, yeah, that's acceptable, or no, that's BS.
so that was
So-
meh. It was meh. It was a mess series. It was okay.
It was a decent series. Will I watch
was-
it again? Probably not. It
No.
was entertaining. It wasn't the worst. It was funny. It
It-
had funny moments.
It was a series that literally no anime company talked about.
Yeah.
Not a
It happened to get chosen.
I've seen a lot of like Funimation and Crunchyroll tweets and Shonen Jump tweets, and not a single one ever mentioned Dr. Ramune. They mentioned a bunch of other animes, and some of them I hadn't heard of, but not Dr. Ramune.
I mean, I wonder why.
And it wasn't really right.
Fish cake. Fish cake.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you feel about the
Yeah.
series as a number rating as a whole?
Meh. 5. Meh.
5. I'll give it a 6.5 even. There was some
It was
places,
5 is
and
average.
I was curious about how Ramune and Kuro originally met, and that was explored. Like, I didn't get to see a lot of things that could have been done. Like episode 12, if it was done better, it would definitely be a higher rating. It was just like that was a culmination. That was a season finale, maybe the series finale, and that's what they. It's like it's finally time for dessert. Have this pile of poo, There you go.
Yeah, no, I preferred the season finale of Ikebukuro Westgate Park, because that ended on that was a season.
What's
Like,
it?
it ramped up. Like, it's a similar kind of frame where it's like a new kind of story each week, and it doesn't have too much to do. But it also had like plot elements that were out throughout the whole series, and it ends with like a civil war between one group and an all-out war with another group, and also an assassin was involved. So
Oh.
the Yakuza, an assassin, a civil war between two groups, and the Triad were all a part of the finale.
Nice. And
yeah,
then
this is the way to end the series.
the King's Avatar also, I know you're not watching it, but the King's Avatar also
I checked
had...
it out. It ended the way I thought it would.
It pretty much... I'll give a good summary of this. Everyone's trying to stop Lord Grimm and his team from leveling, so they're trying to block them out of the dungeons, and they're just kicking their butts. They're kicking everybody's butts, so it's not really any sort of problem. And the one dude, there's a scene that the flowing tree or whatever, the PK towelhead dude, he's like, it's like you're trying to build another professional team because Sumu Chong, she's gonna be, mind you, Sumu Chong is a launcher, and so is Boss. And I was just polishing. Is he gonna polish Boss and work on her because he certainly helped her? No, because he has this lady interest that's so much better. Yeah. But he definitely Boss's. If I was in Boss's position, I'd be like, "Excuse me?
I'm sorry, you suck, lady."
Wow, rude. But okay, he's gonna help everybody else but her.
She's never won a freaking PvP match. So
yeah, look. But anyway, and he's like, "Are you grooming for next year when you're so you can go pro?" And Sue's gonna be out of her contract for Excellent Era, yeah. and he was like, "Maybe." And then he's like, I really could because they got the Ghost Blade, they got Steam Bun Invasion, they got Tang, they've got Sumu Chong, and they've got himself. Yifan is a Ghost Blade, by the way. And it's like, yeah, that could be a pretty solid team. Oh, and then they have Flowing Tree as well, which is Towelhead dude. So it's like pretty much the episode is the other guild people are figuring out who Lord Grimm is, and then after all of that, they one Autumn Leaf's old rivals comes to find him. They have this big fight where he's like, "Did you give up your fundamentals?" And instead of going, "No, my team kind of pretty much kicked me out because I'm old," he was just silent the whole time and let the other dude just berate him.
Yeah, because that's his personality.
He did not defend himself at all, and then you see flashbacks.
I mean, it puts you off your game if you reply. Like, if someone's being toxic to you in a game, it's better to ignore it than get riled up and make a huge mistake.
Because his personality is also I don't care.
Yeah, that's fair, but go ahead.
That's also his.
He's on the spectrum.
It feels like it. But no, literally
he's
exactly how I thought it was.
I can definitely see there being.
Was the pro's avatar's name? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, all good.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I agree.
And he's a brawler, and they have a fight, and then he's like, "Did you forget your ideals?" and da 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 da. And you see them first starting, and they literally started playing on the first server together, and you see their flashback of a rivalry, even though this character was never mentioned until now, with him playing Autumn Leaf. And then they signed on to different teams, and he's it was a good fight, but eventually, go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying because this anime doesn't care about backstory really.
Nah, fair enough. So, and then eventually he just backs out and he's like, "I'll come back," and he's like, "All right, that's fine."
Yeah, that's what I said. It ended exactly how I thought it was. Like, are you gonna come back? He's like, "Yeah, I'll take a year off and I'll come back." And I was like, so we ended the anime ends exactly where it started. He didn't change really.
And then he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna return as a pro team." And then later, after the credits and stuff, we see that the boss has bought them all team uniforms, and he's like, "They're kind of flashy," and then it's just literally red and white. It's just like a line. It wasn't flashy.
The main character had no arc.
You want to know what the team's name is?
What?
Team Happy. Yeah, I literally wrote lame in my notes.
I'm sorry. There was no arcs. There was no arcs. Nobody like really changed as a person.
Sorry, my dog was making dog noise.
Like,
Dog noises.
like the main character doesn't change. He's the same person at the beginning as he is at the end. His goals didn't change. His dreams didn't change. His desires didn't change. Yeah.
There was something that was kind of cool. Was after everything was over, then you got to see like the voice actors and the writers and stuff. The original show talk about it. This was on the YouTube. If you guys want to check out the show, it's on YouTube, and it was kind of cool because they thanked everybody and the sub team, and it was kind of neat.
Yeah, that's neat. But I just wish they had put out a better product. Sorry.
Spicy. Is spicy.
Create a better product. Your product so far was worse than Lou Over the Wall. Only because I literally got so bored of the anime I had to stop watching. At least Lou Over the Wall shocked me and made me look like I was watching a train wreck. Also, the dad was kind of funny, but I mean, just the shark man with the hat it was funny.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
No, I'm sorry. This whole series is straight up just a 2 for me. Just so boring.
Oh,
nobody
just
goes anywhere.
1 second.
So yes, everyone.
So yes.
King's Avatar. This is terrible. It's a 2. But if you want to check out some good anime, check out Full Dive. The ultimate next-gen RPG is even worse than real life. That's not the actual word, but I can't swear. So it's poopy. Yeah, no, it's really good. It's about VR MMO that is replicates all 5 senses, and they stopped doing that because video games are supposed to be fun.
So sorry for that. My niece and little brother were visiting, and they were going home, and they wanted to say goodbye. I can't tell a 5-year-old little girl that I don't want to say goodbye and give her a big old hug, okay?
Also check out Mashiro no Ota. While it may be a slice of life, it's about shamisen. It's very good, and the first episode ends with a SWAT team destroying a door, and the main character's mom being like, "I'm here to pick you up."
Okay, I'm not a fan of knife, but...
Look, Angel, you can't call it a slice of life when it ends with a SWAT team blowing down a door, and this woman just being like, "I'm here to pick you up."
I mean, you can, because you did.
That's not slice of life. Like, it's called slice of life, and I'm like, that's not slice of life. In what world?
I didn't mind the King's Avatar. I found it intriguing. It was not the greatest anime I've ever seen, but it wasn't bad. And I've heard season 2 is much better, so I might check it out. We shall see. And my personal rating is about like a 6.
I mean, yeah. I feel like I can relate to the main character, but that's just me.
I can't because I have emotions.
I have very limited emotions, and therefore I relate to that character very muchly.
I have too many emotions.
Mood.
Hey, nice.
But
hey.
Anyway, don't forget, if you could be a patron for as little as $1 a month and have special access to our post show, and our post show this week is going to be about the movie
The Wind Rises.
We're not
the
gonna
movie that should
it.
never have been made.
You know that.
Sorry.
$1 a month, and you guys can have access to that content and all of season 0. And our current patrons are Chase, which is a Soul Reaper, Melissa XO, which is also a Soul Reader and Reaper, and Adam S, which is also a Soul Reaper. And thank you guys so much.
I was gonna say, also don't forget, we're still looking for a stream host for Anime Club, and we've got some new things coming next season. 2 weeks. Keep your eye out on our social media.
Well, it might be a little longer, might be a little bit less. So keep your eyes on social medias.
But keep your eye on social media. We're going to be having our votes out for which anime we're going to watch for Anime Club, and
it's going to be a wild card pick movie. So keep it out.
First movie is going to be a wild card pick movie. We're going to have votes up. Check out the social medias. Keep your eyes on the Twitters.
We're gonna intend to do something special with the Otakucast. We're gonna make this better for you guys, and hopefully
we're gonna do some more interesting things.
Yeah, some more. We're gonna get spicier. So keep your eyes on the social medias, and keep being awesome. So yeah, you guys got anything else to say before we end season 4? It's been a fun season.
Season 3.
Or 3.
Yes, season 3.
Yep.
We've been talking so much about season 4.
Yeah, no, we're prepping for season 4. We hope to see you there.
Sometimes. Yeah. What do you gotta say for us, Chase? Your
Good job,
degenerate
everyone.
Good job.
Yes, we have 2 daddies. We have Daddy Chase and Daddy Yojak. So
Take care, everybody.
for watching, and we'll see you guys next season. Bye bye.
Bye.